This is the reason we paid for the key. Hello everybody, welcome to another video. I'm Ant, he's Glenn. We're on Ovation of the Seas and we are sailing from Hawaii all the way through to Vancouver. We land in Vancouver in 2 days' time, so we are in the middle of a load of sea days.
And we're here to talk about
the key. Well, I was going to ask you how the cruise has been so far.
I wouldn't
for you.
bother. It's just the same as all the others. Nice, relaxing, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If you haven't already seen our review of the cabin, you can check that out here, and we've got more stuff coming your way. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to like it. All that stuff. I meant to say that at the end, but who cares? So Glenn, what is the key?
The key is an add-on experience, which Royal Caribbean allows you to purchase on most of their cruises, and it has a whole list of benefits which you'll be able to see on the screen right now. And what we thought we'd do for you is, because it's the first time we've taken the key as well, is to maybe go through the list of benefits but tell you what our experience of each was, and then perhaps that might be able to give you an idea of whether it's good value for your cruise. We've gone from cab to waiting to board in about 10 minutes or less. Not even 10 minutes, isn't it?
10 minutes, if that. Yeah, it was very, very quick. Lots of people waiting outside though, so you can kind of see the value of it.
Yeah, so far the key is pretty decent. Effectively, what the key gives you is it will allow you to board in the very first group. In fact, the only people that got on the ship before us were back-to-backs, the people that had been on the previous cruise. As they were kind of filing through, the key and full suite guests were then allowed to go in. Yeah. So it gives you the best or earliest embarkation possible. So for me, that's a big thumbs up.
So the first thing you do when you're on the ship is, if you're the sort of person, like with us, we carry camera gear because we're making YouTube videos. So we have a lot of carry-on, but what you can do is drop off your carry-on luggage. You go to deck 3 once you embark, and then they'll put a tag on it and you'll find it in your room before your actual luggage arrives as well, which is nice and quick. I was really pleased with that because it just meant we weren't carrying a load of stuff around with us until our cabins were made available.
It was a good benefit as an extra one. When we saw it on the list of benefits for the key, I was like, well, what difference does that make? Actually, it did make quite a nice difference to us first day. We went down to the dining room for our chops lunch, which we'll talk about in a second, but we were able to leave our hand luggage there.
You're not going to like this, but I'm going to be honest. I like Chops Grill. I've always liked Chops Grill. It is a very fine steakhouse. It's not the best, it's not as good as Crown Grill, and it is fine. It is a decent steakhouse and it is not worth 65 bucks. However,
I honestly think that on the last Wonder video you said it was better than the Crown Grill, though. Now you're saying it isn't.
Look, don't argue with me. This is not what we're talking about.
But we have video evidence of saying that.
Listen. I do not like the main dining room. In fact, we have not set foot in the main dining room since we had our Chops lunch. And the reason for that was because they took what was a very fine steakhouse experience and ruined it. It was not good. The thing with Chops is it's a decent steak and it's a decent meal, but it's a cut down menu and it was overcooked and the chips were cold and it was...
Fries for our North American audience.
It just wasn't good. Wasn't good.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed. It was advertised as one of the biggest benefits of the key. You know, Chops exclusive lunch. We sat in the main dining room. It was an okay ambience, but the food was pretty average. And you only had, I think, 3 choices for main. Three entrees, 3 appetizers, or something like that.
I actually had the burger. And it
fancy going to a steak restaurant. You had a burger
because I knew I was going to eat a lot of steak on this cruise, and
it wasn't worth
it. The burger in the Windjammer was better. Anyway,
Yeah.
We got a food video coming up if it's not out already, so check that out if you're interested to find about the food on Ovation.
Please don't look at the key and think that exclusive Chops dinner is going to sway it for me.
Yeah,
it won't.
No, don't bother. You can, and I've got it here. You get an iFly, one flight session per guest. And iFly is like the fake skydiving experience, and North Star, which is their ball on a stick in the sky. So with North Star, I've got that in about 5 hours time. So we're going to see how that went, or if it didn't happen. So there we go.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
I don't know. Well, we'll find out. Let's cut to me in the future.
Right.
Oh wow. It's just like the London Eye. Oh, I can see Glenn over there in the hot shorts. I genuinely thought I was going to be quite frightened, but I'm not. It's not entirely stable. That was awesome. That was awesome. That was so good. I was much more relaxing than I thought it was going to be. It was super chill, and because the sea was just so calm. He has missed out. Thank you so much for joining. Take care. Oh, amazing. Gotta do it.
Anyway, the biggest boon is people are fighting tooth and nail to get slots on these activities. As a key guest, you walk right in, and
you still have to reserve
allocated times for you to reserve.
You have to reserve it. I reserved it on day one, and I reserved iFly for tomorrow. Again, we'll cut to me in the future to see how that went.
I have no interest in these things personally, so for me, it's of no consequence. So only you know, are they the kind of things that you want to do? If they are, a key could be really useful for you. If not, it's...
And things like Flow Rider as well, and things like that. They also have like...
Do you get Flow Rider on it too?
You get bumper cars in the Seaplex, you get the rock wall. All of the activities that are on the ship that you would normally have to book for, they have slots set aside for key guests, and you just put yourself on that list.
Yeah, so bumper cars, you know, if you're under the age of 12 and you really want to go
I saw the bumper cars earlier today, and I thought they looked really fun. There were about 5 people in them though. There was a lot of like empty space, but anyway.
This is why I really want to go on Celebrity.
He wants to go on Celebrity, so what? So you can sit around and complain that everything's well expensive, but the food's very nice.
Exactly.
Oh, for crying out loud. Priority departure at tender ports.
Ah, interesting. So this itinerary, every stop was a tender. In theory, this should have been a really good boon. So what it means is, all key guests have priority disembarkation from the ship at tender ports.
So the thing with the tendering is that you have to get a tender ticket, and then you're given a group, and they say don't wander off because they'll call your ticket and then you have to go because they try to move very, very quickly. If you've got the key, you don't need a ticket and you get in the next group that's going out. So it's nice and easy.
Yeah. In theory. In reality, when we did try in Maui, we went downstairs to join the key group, only to be told, the tender at that gate or whatever has broken down. Can you just join the main line? So we got in joined for the main line, and then about 5 minutes later, they fixed the other boat. In which case we still went there, but then we were at the back of the queue. So in reality, it made no difference to us whatsoever. So I'm kind of confused whether that's the benefit or not.
And to be honest, when it comes to tendering, where you want the perk, and you're not getting it, by the way, isn't getting off the ship, it's getting back to the ship. Yeah. Because that's where the queuing works. When you get to the end of the day, and I know when we were leaving Kona, that the last tender was supposed to leave at 3. At 3:45, they were still bringing people back. So,
and there were people posting on the Facebook page saying, "I hope you don't expect the ship to leave on time because there's a huge queue still waiting for a tender to come back."
So that's kind of like, it's like a half benefit, but not really. This is the reason we paid for the key. The internet. So how much is the internet per person on this ship?
I don't know. It changes all the time.
Yeah, it's usually between $18 and $25 a day.
We got it for $14 on the next one.
Have we? Oh, lucky us. Okay, $14 and $25 a day, depending on the sailing. So with us, by getting the key, which we actually only paid $1 more than what we would have paid for the internet, because
$1 per person per day.
Per day, yeah. So that for us is why we personally bought the key, because the internet was what we really, really wanted.
Absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, and it is the Surf and Stream. Now, Royal Caribbean is now using Starlink, which is the satellite internet, and it is much better than our previous experiences of using the internet.
The biggest point is, if your price per day for the key is a tiny amount more than the price per day for the internet,
Get
just
the key.
take the key.
Get the key. Yeah.
If it's not, if it's a lot more, then you really have to look at the other benefits and think, am I going to get value from those? That's the...
Yeah. And that is one device per person per cabin. You get VIP seating in the theatres and on shows. So if you're a full suite guest, there'll be a suite area which you get into before. You don't really need to book for any shows. You just show for your card. You get straight in. And,
you have to be there at least 10 minutes ahead. After 10 minutes, they give up the VIP area to everybody.
Yeah, but the VIP area is pretty decent. And
I disagree. The area that they've roped off for key and suite guests, I don't think is the best. It's
like
on the upper circle
I
in
like
the
the
theatre
circle.
and the upstairs in Cafe 270. I don't think you get the best views from either of them, to be perfectly honest. I'd much rather sit in the stalls, but that's personal taste, I suppose.
Okay. And finally, which we haven't experienced because we're still on the cruise, end your adventure with a la carte breakfast on deck 4 in the Silk Dining Room from 6:30am to 8:30am. That's a bit early. Before departing the ship. And you also get to choose your departure time.
Actually, that's quite a good benefit, yeah.
Choosing the departure time, I think, is more better than the breakfast, because most people go to the Windjammer. But I think that we can't check into our hotel in Vancouver till like quite late in the afternoon, so we're quite happy to get off the ship last. I'm in no hurry to get, we're not getting a flight or anything like that, so it's nice to be able to potter around the ship and be one of the last off.
Yeah, but based on our experience of the exclusive lunch on the first day, I'm not really holding out much hope.
That was a nice breakfast, or it was a terrible breakfast. We don't know. Thank you so much for watching. That was the key on Royal Caribbean. Finally.
Was it worth it, yes or no?
Yes, I think it was because of the internet.
And yes for me, because of the internet.
If you're going to get the internet... then
Right,
this
can I
is
just
something
stop you there?
should consider.
Our next cruise, the price difference between VOOM, Surf and Stream and the Key is $11 per person per day. That, again, is a 9-night cruise. So that's almost $100 per person.
So we're
difference.
not getting the Key.
Now, is that worth
No.
us taking it or not?
If it was... No.
Absolutely not.
No. See, again, different value for different people. Anyway, the battery's about to die on this camera, so I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Say goodbye, Glenn.
Goodbye, Glenn.
See you on the next one. Bye. Mwah.